Hi, how's it going, everybody? So I decided that I kind of want to start a little series here on my TikTok. So this is gonna be pretty much me crocheting, while I talk about a creepy or true crime case that I have heard of recently. This one coming up, I heard about, and it's a legend, and I thought it was super interesting. And if that's something you're interested, please stay tuned. The series is going to be called Crocheting with the Creeps. And if you are not interested in creepy or true crime stories, I highly suggest that you click away. But if you are interested in crochet content, I do have that on my TikTok as well. Just trigger warning for anybody moving forward. This legend is a story that I heard, and now you have to hear it too. So this legend starts with Alexander Sawney Bean. He was speculated to have lived in 15th or 16th century Scotland. Um, it was also said that he was a tanner by trade, but it was by family trade, and it wasn't really something that he was interested in. So, after meeting a woman named Agnes Douglas, also known as Black Agnes, because it was speculated that she was dabbling in witchcraft, um, they got married and they ended up moving to Ayrshire, Scotland. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but they moved to a different town. So the Beans decided that they weren't going to live in a normal home. They decided to reside inside of a cave. And this was a massive cave with all the tunnels and winding. It ended up being about like a mile long. But unfortunately, after they claimed residence in this cave, they started to have a little bit of money troubles. So, like any rational person would do, Sawney started taking actions into his own hands and he started robbing passerbys of their cave. So this proved to be beneficial to them because they did live between villages and there were tons of roads connecting said villages. So there were plenty of people coming between the villages that they could potentially rob. But Sonny started to grow a little bit paranoid, and he was a little scared that people would be able to track these robberies back to their cave. So, rationally, he and his wife decided that they were going to start killing the people that they robbed so that word wouldn't get out. And then the problem rose, well, what are they going to do with the bodies? I think you can kind of see where this is going. Sonny and his wife Agnes decided that they were going to start eating the bodies so that there wasn't any evidence. So, after sustaining some money and a new diet, they decided that it was about time to start having children. They were literally filling this cave because they had 14 kids. Their children start to grow up. They have the same diet as their parents. They are eating the victims of Sani. So this, for many reasons, isolated the family from the outside world, and this resulted in the children having children with each other. And this whole thing went unnoticed for like 2 whole decades. Nobody knew a thing. They just knew that people were going missing, and as a result, they started to hang innkeepers because travelers would come and stay in the inns and then just never return home. So they just assumed that it was the innkeeps that were doing it. So a lot of men were falsely accused and hung for it. Nobody suspected their cave, and this is ultimately what Sonny had wanted. But eventually, the Bean family bit off a little bit more than they can chew, pun intended, and they decided to attack a couple that was coming back from one of the villages. Unbeknownst to the Bean family, though, this village had a fair, and there was a group of people also coming back from the fair and saw the Bean family attacking this couple. The people who came back from the fair ended up letting the authorities know, and this got all the way to the king at the time. And the king decided that he wasn't having any of that. And he sent 400 men and like tracker dogs to go and find where these people were. This started the largest manhunt in Scotland, and they ended up finding the cave. So the king himself and also his 400 men got into the cave and a fight ensued. At this point, there were 48 members of the Bean family, and they had been going on for about 25 years, and it was speculated that they had 1,000 victims. So the king decided that he was going to sentence them all to death, and the king ordered that the men were to be tortured while the women of the Bean family watched. The men ultimately succumbed to their injuries during torture, and the women were burned alive at the stake because of their punishment and the crimes that they had committed over the past 25 years. And that, my friends, is the story of the Bean family. If this sounds familiar, it's because The Hills Have Eyes was inspired by it. And yeah, this was just pretty much a legend, though. It's not 100% true. They have no documentation saying that this incident did happen because there's nothing that like predates like the 18th century or something like that in Scotland. Don't fact check me. I This is just what I've heard. Um, Honestly, this whole story is just something that I've heard, and there's different forms of the story out there. But I think it was super interesting and kind of a crazy story. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this. Please like and share. I just kind of want to start this series and kind of see where it takes me. But yeah, if you stuck all the way through, give me a thumbs up emoji in the comments. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.